Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back. In this section, I'm going to show you uh, what on-page SEO is all about and what are some things that you need to look out for when doing on-page SEO. Okay, this is when we're putting all the research to work. We've done all the keyword research that we needed, and we created the content. Now I'm going to show you exactly how to apply that content to your website and what things should look like. Okay. We're going to carry on from the following example where I was showing you that hair salon. I was taking a look at their content and it's pretty tight. And, not that the words are fancy or anything like that, but they have all the elements in the right place that you need to have. And so I'm going to go through that with you today. Okay. So, what is on page SEO? Doing on page SEO or on site SEO literally means optimizing your website to affect organic search results. It's everything that you can do on the website itself, from content optimization, to all the technical stuff, right? So that's the exact opposite of off-page SEO, where we focus on increasing our domain authority through getting backlinks from other reputable websites. That's off-page SEO. So on page is everything that we do on the website to make sure that we're in a good place for Google to show us on the first page. Okay, so that includes a few things here, and I'll go through this together with you. Meta tags, headings, URLs, image optimization or image SEO, content, structured data, website size and speed. So I'm going to really go through what the basics are overall for this list, because structured data is a little bit more advanced and it's not completely relevant to you getting on the first page. However, it is a good tactic for you to start taking up more real estate on search engine results pages. So, all right, so meta tags. Meta tags are, like I mentioned in the previous example, is exactly how you look on search engine results pages. So, your meta tag is this title and the description. This matters for on-page SEO because it's simply how people visit your website. It's what your pages are set up for to be displayed on search engine results pages. So overall, you just want to make sure you have a really solid title. It clearly describes your brand, the keyword that you're trying to target, and the same thing is repeated in the description. It's just a longer title describing exactly who you are and what this page is all about. Okay. Then it's your heading. Your heading is what's on your website itself, such as this here, lash lifts. Clearly, this page is targeting lash lifts. So your heading needs to be keyword relevant. Not every single heading on the page, but a good amount of them need to describe exactly what this page is all about. So, this has your heading is very important. Again, makeup services. This page is targeting lashes, makeup, etc. And so they have that listed right into their heading. Most people do this naturally because when you're setting up your website, they ask you what the headings are and all the other stuff. But you need to know that that's relevant to how search engines are crawling your website and evaluating the overall potential of you going on the first page. So make sure that all of that stuff is included in there. All right. Then it's your URL structure. URL structure is really just what you have going on after the .com. So if you have, so if this is short and concise and it has the keywords that you need, then this is good. You're good to go. That's pretty much all there is to it. You just got to make sure there's some keyword consistency, and it's very user friendly. Like when people read it, they can easily know what the page is all about. Okay, then there's image SEO. That simply has to do with the size and quality of your images on a given page, right? So, if these images on the site were heavy or they were big, it would take a long time for the page to load. So we don't like a situation where there are like these big heavy images taking up all the load speed on a given page. We want to kind of just be able to get to the page quickly, load it, and then show it, right? And then the other thing is the alt text. That just simply describes what the image is all about. So whenever you're uploading an image onto your website, they usually ask you for the caption, the alt text, the title, whatever. Your alt text should describe what the image is all about. Don't worry about the overall keywording aspect of that. You just got to make sure that it's describing what the image is. Okay. And then There's content, of course. Content is very, very important when it comes to on-page SEO. When you have good content, it's clearly broken up, it's very easy to read, it's keyword relevant. We have keywords within the content that we want to be ranked for on Google. So lash lift is in there. Then she uses lashes again, and then lash lift again. So there's some sort of consistency in what is being optimized for in your overall content. Okay. Also in content, there's other things that you could do like internal linking, which I'll talk about in a moment. But overall, you just want to make sure you have keyword relevant content. Structured data is simply what we have here, where, let's see if I can find it. Like if I type in, what is the best hair salon in Atlanta? If I type that in, I should get a bunch of questions. This is structured data. It's really just a piece of code that somebody put onto the website to make their information show up like this. It just takes up more real estate on the overall search engine results pages. So if you're ranked here for this information, and you're also ranked down here in organic search results, and you also have a map listing, you start to have a crazy trifecta of your website being everywhere on search engine results pages, right? So that's the whole point, is we want to make sure your website is available and visible in as many places as possible on Google search engine results pages in order for you to increase the chances of getting clicks, traffic, so on and so forth. Okay, so that's structured data. And then lastly is your website size and speed. Like I said, user experience is everything. If people can't access your website in the way they would like to, then they're just going to bounce off and go do something else. So you got to make sure that's in tip-top shape. You got to make sure that your website is mobile friendly. You can use it on any kind of device, not just a desktop, not just a laptop, but on everything. And that's really what they're describing here, just making sure that it's a good fit for everyone on any device. Okay, so that's really the basics of on-page SEO, right? So we can go here into further detail. URL is add a target keyword in your URL, right? Keep it short and concise without sacrificing clarity. Like we're showing here, it's short, concise, and it's very clear what this page is all about when I look at it. Okay, keep that in mind. Then when it comes to title tags, you want to make sure that you're adding a keyword to the title tag, or what's known the meta title. Like I showed you this little place here. This is your meta title. You want to make sure you got, make sure your title is clear, describes who you are, and there's also, some keyword relevancy to it. You only got but so many space on that meta title, so make sure you make it worth it. All right. Then there's the content. Your content word count minimum should be at least 150 to 300 words, with your keywords placed every 150 words. So you don't want to create, a bunch of content and you only have the keyword one time. So every time you create 100 words or 150 words, you want to add another keyword in there, just so we're properly sprinkling keywords throughout there. There isn't a set rule for this. Google recommends putting quality over quantity. Avoid duplicate content. Avoid putting the same content from another page on your website, or the same content from one of your pages on your website. Don't duplicate anything. Everything must be unique. Okay. Make sure the answers are search's biggest and smallest questions. So no matter what it is, if you know your market really well, if usually when you talk to a client, they usually say the same things, or they ask for the same things, then you know that this is content that you want to put on your website and make it available for people to understand. Okay, if you're a doctor and people always ask you what type of insurance do you take, you want to make sure that you got all the insurances that you take on your website, because it's all about serving the user here. And the more that you focus on doing that, the greater your chances increase of being shown on the first page. Okay, so the thing about word count too is that Google doesn't really have a set rule on word count. I'm telling you that it's best for you to have at least 150 words on your page, describing whatever the topic is about, because anything less than that, is considered like low quality. If it's not a lot to it, because you're not putting much detail into it. So, to them, it looks like, content that doesn't really need to be seen. If they have somebody else out there with a better answer, that's providing a better experience on the website, they're just going to go with that. So make sure there's sufficient words on there to describe or answer, your users' questions. Okay, next thing is header tag. Like I mentioned, place keywords in your header tags. I don't care if it's H1, H2, H3. Just make sure you're not keyword stuffing. So back to this example again, this is a header tag. This is likely a H2 tag. This is a H1. So like the main heading should have the keyword in it. The next heading should have, keywords in it. And you don't want to repeat the same keywords over and over again. So that's why you see makeup services as a heading here, and then waxing down here. Just make sure that it's sprinkled throughout the heading. Every heading doesn't have to have a keyword in there, but you want to make sure that you have your keywords in at least one heading on your page, if not two headings. But that's my advice for headings. It's really not that hard. Just make sure it's consistent, and make sure that you're adding the keywords that you want to have, and also make sure it's useful and descriptive. If it doesn't need to be there, then don't put it there. Okay. Next is optimizing images. Add keyword relevant alt tag to the images. So, like I said before, if this is an eye, make sure you put, or if this is a lash, make sure you put in the alt tag, human eye or lash lift for, green eye, whatever. Just make sure it describes the image. If it does, don't worry about stuffing keywords in there. It's not really that relevant. But make sure that it's clearly identified what the image is all about or what the image actually is. But even more important than that, you want to make sure that it's a small image in size, meaning that you're maintaining the quality of the image, but it's not taking up a lot of load speed on your page. That's really the biggest thing with image SEO, is making sure that images load quickly. Alt text is not as important at all. Google is not going to look at you kind of way if you don't have an alt text, but they definitely will look at you some kind of way if your images are slowing down the website. Okay, so make sure you're on top of that. And then lastly, use links. Add internal links. Like I said before, Google wants to make sure that they're showing the very best content, and the way you do that is by showing Google that your content is trustworthy and well referenced, right? So in here, there are a bunch of different links in here, where you can see, a bridal page on the website. You can see, bridal makeup services. They have links, sprinkled throughout the page, leading people to other directions. This just makes your content look more helpful and more reputable because you're linking out to other sources, right? Same thing with these guys' homepage. I'll show you here. They could work on their speed a bit, but they're on the first page for a reason. They have pretty decent content, right? They got a bunch of links, right, within the content itself, leading to other pages on their website, all right? And that's the same thing that you want to have in your content, just making sure that you're leading out to other pages on your website. You do that, Google looks at you as more reputable because you're sharing information, you're sharing resources, you're helping users get to the services and solutions that they need on your website, and that's what really matters at the end of the day. Okay, so that's pretty much on-page SEO. You follow these things, you do them correctly, you make sure your website is ready on all kinds of devices. You make sure that your keywords are sprinkled properly. You make sure you got a tight URL, sufficient content, keyword in the header tag, your images load quickly. They're going to show you on the first page because now that's what makes you VIP. Trust me, most websites are not doing this, so you don't have anything to feel like, this is a lot of work. It may be a little bit of work, 2 hours a day really take care of you over the course of the next 6 months. But, you're putting yourself in a position to be ahead of your competitors locally or nationally. And most people are not focused on this. Some are definitely on top of their SEO, but most are not. So this is an opportunity for you to take advantage of a free marketing source, essentially, just by, making these tweaks to your website. Okay, so that's on-page SEO. We're going to move on to technical SEO. We're going to keep it at a very basic level because at the end of the day, you don't need to understand, all of these small technical aspects of SEO in order for you to be successful. Okay, so I will see you soon. Thank you.